And welcome to this lo-fi episode of Kayfabe is Not Dead. I'm your host CJ, and tonight we got only one other host.
Yeah, I'm all you need, man. I'm the
But
reigning champ.
yeah, I was about to say we have the reigning predictions champ, not Hans Gruber if you're watching the video version, but in fact that's Jess. How's it going over there?
It's going great, man, over here in the Starlit City. How are things on your end?
No complaints. Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. We got some complaints about
Oh, we got plenty of complaints.
yeah, and I guess we can segue directly into this Raw and Smackdown recap. We don't have any pay-per-views coming up for a couple more weeks, so no predictions episode. But we can definitely talk about the overall direction that they're going into, and whether we agree with their decisions or not. And I think we will definitely have some opinions, to say the least.
We
Uh,
got plenty of opinions, man. It's a question of whether or not WWE is going to hear it and make any changes.
Yeah. So we'll start with Raw, and maybe the Dapper will give us some input next time when he can join us. But
The guy who
anyway.
can't even get his score on the board for our predictions, you think has a chance of doing anything?
Well, do you have any theories as to why he can't show up today?
I mean, from what I gather, this isn't the first sport he can't perform in, so we'll leave it at that. I think it's been a running issue, and we'll leave him to his struggle.
All right. Um, so let's go ahead and start with Raw. We got Roman Reigns coming out, and he gets a sea of boos, and he declares himself the next number one contender at SummerSlam. And it doesn't matter who wins at Great Balls of Fire. He's the one that beat the Undertaker. So I think that's like the third time since WrestleMania that they've actually referenced it, and that it's his yard and his rules, and
Ugh.
then and then Joe comes out and they fight later. so um,
Yeah, those are fighting words.
I mean, if this is all leading to Reigns turning heel, it's perfect. But if this
That's not
is,
where they're going with this.
it's
There's
so
not even a hint of
frustrating.
that in
Like
here.
I feel like a broken record because not we're not the only ones that bring this up. If anybody listening to this probably, if they don't share this opinion, they at least understand it, and it's that Reigns is not booked correctly, and everything he was doing was great if you put it in a heel lens. But the minute Joe comes out and they do that whole awkward Samoan, oh well, I'm not gonna call you Samoa Joe because you're not Samoan. Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, uh,
Yeah, I don't even have a comment on this, man. If you, there's a game I like to play called "Is It Racist?" If you change Samoan out for any other word that can be used to describe a race or an ethnicity, it's racist. But somehow in the WWE, being Samoan gives you a pass. Like it's the weirdest shit to me that this is an issue or even something they're going to continuously bring up the way they do.
well, I think what they were going for was it's the fact that both of them are Samoan, and Dapper could correct us, but I'm pretty sure Reigns has some sort of actual connection to The Rock. Uh, but
No,
the whole Reigns'
no,
whole Reigns' whole attitude, it was weird, especially because as Joe pointed out, Reigns beat him on his debut. So I don't. This whole thing sucked, and we're moving on.
Well, who hasn't Reigns beat at this point? He didn't beat Balor, and then Balor came back and he beat Balor for
Well,
whatever reason.
whenever the crowd figures that out and it's like, oh wait, is Roman Reigns a jobber? Uh, they'll just put a tag team against him and have Reigns go over clean against like the tag team champions, like what happened with the club. Oh,
I'm,
that then obviously he's like the strongest because nobody.
I'm fucking speechless, man. I
Yeah.
mean, the way they booked him against the League of Nations, which was, a numerous amount of world heavyweight champions, 100 other things, and he beats them all in under 5 minutes. It's like, well, fuck. Like, if he can beat five people who have all previously been champs, a king of the ring, and the current champion in under
just
5 minutes,
just give
who the
him every
fuck's a challenge for him?
just give him every belt. Give him every belt. So we'll move on to the next match. We had the Club versus the Hardy Boys, and this is an okay match. Anything that gets to show off the Club because they for some reason are buried on the card. Uh, I,
Yeah,
I
the club doesn't even make sense to me. They're a team that was brought over. They constantly lose. They're not paired with anybody.
AJ or
They're not paired. Yeah, they're not
or
paired with
with Finn.
AJ or with Balor.
Yeah. Well, no, they. What I'm saying, I kind of wanted to bring this up at the end of the show,
And they got like
but
four heel tag teams. They
well,
got one face at the moment. What the hell?
that's I wanted to. I kind of wanted to talk about this when bringing up SmackDown, but like the quality has been up and down, and even though I liked Money in the Bank, it wasn't the greatest pay per view.
No, I
Uh,
think we can agree to that.
yeah. So, but with that said, I'm just comparing WWE as a whole, not Raw and Smack. I'm taking the product as a whole. They have so many good wrestlers. Why do they insist on only doing like one one program and then a couple matches? Like they do that with the tag division and they do that with the women's division when they have like five or six tag teams on each show, and they have like 5 to 6 uh, pretty decent female wrestlers. Unless they're feuding over the belt, it like doesn't count. So, but instead we're getting like subpar promos and like time wasters when we could just be having more matches. Is essentially what I'm getting at. Like there's no reason why the Club or a team like even somebody like the Hype Bros on SmackDown or American Alpha, they're probably a better example. Like there's no reason why they can't be constantly booked as being strong and potential contenders while a feud like the Hardy Boys and Sheamus and Cesaro is still running its course. I mean, yeah, you don't have a sub tag team championship like you do the Universal and Intercontinental title and vice versa on SmackDown, but you can still have like other feuds going on. Like, are they gonna have the Revival just sit on their hands while
Well,
everybody else is fighting?
the revival's out on injury right now.
Well, they were coming back
It's
though. That's what the whole teaser is.
they're coming back, and I am glad they're not just acting like, nope, they're gone forever now. Like, how hard would it be to go have somebody with a camera show Strowman lifting weights in the background and say, as soon as my elbow heals, I'm coming back, and let us know what he's going to do as soon as he gets back,
Mm-hmm.
or what he's planning on doing. They just have characters that disappear. They forget about everybody else, and they hyper focus on things that don't fucking matter. Is what I feel is honestly happening.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we got after
For
our
a 3-hour show, they can't build anything successfully.
yeah the character development has definitely unless you're a top tier uh
But even
uh
there, what has Roman Reigns' character development been?
no, I'm saying top tier mic. If you have tier mic skills or you're just that damn good at wrestling, you will get over with the crowd. And I mean, we can list everybody that's over. You got KO, you got AJ, you got Alexa Bliss, you have Charlotte, you have various Raw people like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and the Hardys, but you know for all of the guys stuck in the mid card, whether they're the tag teams or the women or the or the singles competitors, the singles men. Uh, if you're in the mid card, it's like a black hole, and you're not going to get any story unless you can convince the crowd to put yourself over. And
Yeah, no, the mid card hell is definitely a thing that they are
that both
insistent.
shows suffer from, and I can't believe it.
I was gonna say not to the same degree.
SmackDown to a lesser degree, and there are multiple theories as to why that is. It could be just the writers on that show are better, or the 2 hours doesn't they can, you know, squeeze the product down to like the essentials, and that keeps them focused. I don't know what exactly it is, but anyway, we actually had the Club and Hardy Boys fight, and
Yeah,
after,
finally they're away from Sheamus and Cesaro, which
well, kind of, they're
uh,
gonna keep going with that feud, probably. I would love to see Revival versus Sheamus and Cesaro. That would be great. I am a full proponent of heels versus heels and faces versus faces. You can totally do that if the matches are good.
yeah,
Uh,
no, you can get away with most anything if the matches are good or if it's something people want to see. Kind of like this Samoa Joe, who lost every match, is now suddenly thrust into the main event
well, they did book him
because
as a
of one
monster.
victory.
They did book him as a monster when he debuted. He did beat Roman cleanly when he debuted, so we'll give him that. We got to give him that amount of credit. But after the Club get in some good shots, Jeff gets tagged in as Matt hits the twist of fate. Jeff then hits the swanton, and they get the win. So the Hardys go over. The Club get buried again, but I guess you have to book the Hardys strong to keep up with the bar that is Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you have any other comments on the match? It was all right. It was fine.
Yeah,
It
I
was
was gonna
fine.
say it was fun. I feel this entire Raw could be summed up with it's fine, but how long can you maintain fans and hype for your product if everything's just fine?
Yeah. Well, we get the Gold Dust promo. Gold Dust invites R-Truth to his latest production, The Shattered Truth, and like just like we said for the other match, it was fine. I mean, I like that Goldust is actually getting some room for character development. What we were just talking about as far as mid card hell, it's great that they're giving R-Truth and Goldust some wiggle room, even if it's only like a minute long. But you know what? They should be doing this, I think, for like
With everybody.
with half the roster, exactly. Like a guy
I,
like Mojo Rawley is perfect for like that kind of thing, except when it's awkwardly involving kids. and let's not let Gold Dust get like within 50 feet of a child.
dude, I still love that theory that those kids didn't exist and it was just him hallucinating.
Oh man, that would be amazing. um, then we had Elias Sampson. He comes out and he tries to play, but he has to tune his guitar. So while he's, I guess, stalling, uh, Finn Balor comes out because he doesn't like waiting. He wants to have his match. So Elias has to retreat, and I guess this is their way of trying to get Elias involved in the main event scene. I don't know if I buy it yet, or maybe they're trying to get Finn involved in the Intercontinental scene. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. I mean, Elias looks like Jinder Mahal. He's got the build. They're not drug testing him. Might as well as use it to their advantage to put over some of these guys who are skinnier or
Well, and as they're waiting
don't
their
have
turn,
quite the same look.
well, we can also go on a Brock rant, and I think it's the sum of all of these various parts that I think are bringing the product down, and obviously one of the problems is Brock and how is inconsistently involved in the show. So I guess what the theory is, whether this is going to involve the Intercontinental scene or what, Finn has to have something to do while he's waiting his turn to fight Brock.
Hmm.
I mean, that's essentially what this is.
Yeah, do you really think we're going to get the Finn Balor versus the Brock Lesnar match?
For the title, absolutely. We're absolutely going to get that.
Hmm. See, I'm at the point where I think they're not going to do that anymore.
Do you think do you okay, segueing into this tangent,
Okay.
do you do, do you think that means that Joe actually has a legitimate chance, or do you think somebody else is going to take the belt off of Brock soon? Because I think if Finn is getting a shot at the belt soon, he was the first champ. You cannot, even if he's half of Brock's size, he has to get a shot. So does that mean you think somebody's gonna beat Brock? Eh,
I think I'm not quite ready to lock in this prediction, so this is just you and me talking right now.
I
But
mean,
I truthful,
it's total speculation. I mean, we still have 2 weeks of build up towards Great Balls of Fire, let alone all of these other pay per views.
yeah, my
Like
honest
the current rumor and theory is that Brock's gonna keep this belt until WrestleMania, and then Roman Reigns is gonna beat him. That and
we don't need that again. For what, the third fucking time?
that's yeah, but that's the general theory. Now WWE has had a history of changing things on the fly. I mean, for God's sakes, they probably changed the women's Money in the Bank thing probably like 3 times. I don't know, but what were you gonna say? This is pure speculation on your part. But what was your prediction?
God, man, I honestly think that the belt's going to change hands at Great Balls of Fire. As of right now, this is my prediction. Belt's going to change hands. Lesnar's going to move on to do something. Probably face off against Strowman when Strowman's back, because that should be before Mania.
But isn't that for the belt? Why
I don't
would
think a belt doesn't need to be involved. That's what I think they learned from the last WrestleMania is Goldberg having the belt didn't do anything for that match.
so you think Joe is gonna get the belt?
Yeah, I think Joe's got to get the belt so that the belt can start moving through the roster.
Interesting, interesting. Well, I mean, I heard I heard a rumor that Joe could potentially go over, but he like the crowd has to like basically go nuts for him. And you know what? I love Samoa Joe. He's been killing it since he debuted. I mean, everybody knows he should have debuted a long time ago, just like AJ Styles. They should have debuted like 5 years ago. But ever since he debuted, he's been killing it, and it wouldn't shock me if Joe takes it, but he has to be like super over, and I don't think he's quite there yet with the live crowd.
I don't think he's quite there yet. Well, I think it's more the crowd so far, to be honest with you.
Hmm. I mean, you can definitely if
But
this
let's
was
that's why I'm saying let's see how it goes in Hollywood. Let's see where it goes
yeah,
after that and
but
what the reactions
I
are.
just
But
I just wanted to throw this out there because I think this started because we were talking about Finn Balor and how he doesn't really. I mean, a guy his size, does he have a chance against a guy like Brock? Well, if you put Samoa Joe in an octagon against Brock, it wouldn't shock me if he held his own for a round. You know, Samoa Joe's a bad motherfucker.
yeah, no, Samoa Joe could probably pull it off, but Samoa Joe is a fat piece of shit when you look at him next to Brock Lesnar. Like there's just I know everybody's got their heart on for this match, and I don't care.
Ah,
So it's like I'm one step removed because A, I don't think Joe was booked properly for it to go in this direction, and two, I just want the belt to move.
yeah.
Having a champ hold it for a year doesn't do anything.
Well, no, an absentee champ.
Yeah.
He's only going to appear on the pay per views and the one Raw every 3 weeks. But anyway, we'll actually get to the match, why Finn interrupted Elias, which was to fight Bo Dallas. And I wanted to ask Dapper. I don't know if you can fill me in, but who the fuck is Bo Dallas?
Bo Dallas is Husky Harris, aka Bray Wyatt's brother.
Like legit brother or just
Legit, real life, no kayfabe, brother.
please
Biological, same
please
bio dad.
please tell me he was a part of the Wyatt family, of
Never.
course.
never, and they've only had a brief interaction since they've both been on the main roster because Bo Dallas has been up there for a long time. And
Okay.
Bo Dallas is the perfect example of what I think's wrong with the current WWE product. Bo Dallas was an amazing wrestler in NXT. He was a champ. He got moved on to the main roster, and he just became a
He
fucking
moved.
jabron.
Did he move up before Bray?
That I don't remember offhand.
Okay. Well, I think
But it's one of those things where if you looked at him back to
he
back,
was super over.
it was clear Bo Dallas was the better guy, and now it's Bray who was kind of a weird guy. Had to retool him, redo him a couple
Well,
times.
I didn't know about this connection with Bray, and Bray does not have a Wyatt family backing him up. Does Bo? Is there any chance that Bo joins a reformed Wyatt cult?
I don't know. I doubt it.
I think that would be cool. Um, but yeah, so Bo attacks Finn before the match even starts. The ref finally breaks things up, and as Finn finally rises, the bell rings, and Bo goes on the attack. So this is my very first introduction to Bo, and I'm like, holy shit! Like he's actually gonna beat Finn. I
Yeah.
thought this guy was a jobber.
No, this is the thing that makes very little sense. The last time we saw him was prior to Donald Trump's election, and he was coming out with a sign that says like "Believe in Bo Dallas" or whatever,
Oh, he
done
was a
up in the Trump
face.
style. No explanation behind this, man.
Uh,
He came out. I mean, he was part of the social outcast. He's been doing this thing called Bo Leave It, which is kind of like a knockoff Roman Reigns thing, because Roman's whole gimmick is, you can believe that, believe in the Shield, but Bo does it as Bo.
uh,
It's just this didn't make a lot of sense. Just seeing him randomly come back. I'm glad he's back, much like the world's greatest wrestler, the better half of the primetime players, Darren Young. Some people need more screen time, and they've just been absent for far too long.
so Finn eventually takes control and stomps a mud hole into Bo. Uh, and then he lands the coup de grace, and Finn gets the win. So they're teasing that demon, I think, a little bit because the ref had to warn Finn. He almost got disqualified for the stomps. So he loves stomping on people. Even his finisher is a stomp.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's amazing they won't let Seth do the curb stomp.
Yeah, well, they should let Finn do it, I guess. Um, so then we have a continuation of this bizarre conspiracy theory as Corey Graves bails as the announcer table as Finn walks up the stage. You can see him behind the frame, the main frame. Cut to Kurt Angle talking to someone on the phone when Corey runs into him. Uh, Corey says like he knows why Kurt didn't have a good Father's Day. I don't know what the hell that was about. Kurt looks super spooked, and then Enzo and Cass walk up and yell at Kurt. Enzo accuses the revival, and Cass thinks it's the Big Show. Kurt promises to have an update by the end of the night. So, what'd you think about that quick segment?
I think that was the thing that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so, let's see.
Yeah, so moving on. I mean,
Yeah,
Raw
we
Raw
did.
had it went quick enough, but we need more of what we kind of got going this week. We had Goldust R-Truth got some time, Bo Dallas got some time. We got this expansive card, and I feel like we've just been stuck on the five guys and the same four divas. I want more. Because 205 doesn't do it for me. I hate to say it, but I've lost all interest in that product.
Okay. So then we get Seth Rollins talking about one of the top five guys. Rollins is all excited about being on the WWE 2K18 cover, and then Bray Wyatt interrupts. He knows Seth hasn't grown at all. Seth isn't good or honest. He's just vain because he's all excited about being on the cover. Uh, Seth calls Bray a coward, and Bray says he's going to make a sacrifice. So I guess this is going to be the next big feud. Bray then
next big feud. I don't know. Is this what you were looking for? Because I'm really just feel they're stalling for time for Bray to take on the Balor.
Well, I mean they have to rotate all these feuds anyway. Not like we said before. You know, Brock can't fight everybody, so I'm glad. I just wish they would do this exact kind of thing with the other divisions, like the women or the tag team division. This should be a great feud, and I hope they keep building because Bray, he after he says he's gonna make a sacrifice, Bray then comes out to the ring, and as he blows out the lantern, Seth, doing one of his patented high risk maneuvers, dives off the top rope and lands a crossbody. So
I heard a rumor Dapper might be joining us shortly.
I think that might be the case. I'm just waiting for him to eventually get on. If you can call him from that end, that can. Oh, there he is.
Hey, speak of the devil, and he will appear.
Oh, he's not online anymore. So you try calling him. I have to record, so.
Not a problem. I'll see next time he pops in, and we'll go with it from there. So then, but moving on with the program,
Finn Balor gets interviewed, and he says he has his sights on the Universal title, and then suddenly Elias Sampson attacks Balor from behind. So
yeah. I like Elias Sampson a little bit more. I'm happy to see some growth. He's not just singing songs; he's tuning his guitar now.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to actually use that. Like, if that would be an awesome finish for I don't think they're gonna push him for the Universal belt, but if this was like an Intercontinental feud, and whether it's against the Miz or potentially a Finn Balor, and he uses the guitar to I mean, did he ever use the guitar as a weapon in NXT?
I don't believe so.
Okay, interesting.
I'm not even sure with the new setup in the PG era that you can use the guitar as a weapon. Mattel's going to sign off on that.
Dapper, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we're doing a low. Mic on. We're doing the lo-fi episode. So if you want to
the what episode?
The lo-fi. We weren't doing video today, but if you want to do video, you're absolutely welcome to.
Okay.
But right now we're halfway through Raw. We're just talking about how Finn Balor got jumped from behind, from Elias Sampson. We were just talking about how that could potentially make a good Intercontinental feud.
Yeah.
Do you think Elias has a shot at the Universal belt?
No, just because of the people who are on it.
And I wanted to ask you this question because I just asked Jess and he didn't know. Has the Drifter ever used his guitar?
No. I don't think anyone's used it since Jeff Jarrett. Because it's the PG era.
Wouldn't that be
That's what I was just saying. I mean, Honky Tonk Man, Jeff Jarrett are probably the last two to be A-okay with that.
Wouldn't that be a perfect way for him to either win or defend a belt, though? Whether it was the Intercontinental belt.
Did Jericho ever get a guitar swing off or no?
I think he hit Jeff Jarrett with one.
Yeah.
Yes. No, Austin hit Jeff Jarrett with it.
Oh, okay. So then we get Akira Tozawa versus TJP. Before the match starts, Titus O'Neil comes out to hype the crowd. I guess he needs the proper brands. I don't know. Titus does introduce. He actually goes into the ring and introduces both guys. He even starts doing Akira's yell. His little
Yeah.
So then we finally get our match, and and it goes back and forth. But just as the match is getting good, Neville's music hits, and he takes a seat away from the table. He like grabs a seat from the announcer's table, and then just stares at them and just wheels it over to the entrance ramp.
Mm-hmm.
And then the match continues. Finally, Akira takes over after he lands a suicide dive, and then he lands the senton off the top rope and gets the win. Titus grabs Akira and celebrates, and Akira is continuing this whole look of half confusion / bewilderment and half like pissed off kind of thing.
Pretty much, he just replaced Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he was doing, was the bewildered, confused, okay, I need money kind of look.
So Neville then calls out Titus and Akira. Titus calls Neville a scared boy, and he's going to get annihilated by Tozawa's power. Like,
yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure Neville's going to kill Akira.
He's going to kill everyone. Until like someone worthwhile goes to 205 to put up a fight, like TJP.
I was just saying, I lost all interest in 205 officially. I'm done.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, hey,
is it because they have just Neville?
Yeah, it's pretty much just Neville. But I have a question. I'm sure you guys talked about it earlier in the podcast, but I just want to say, Raw is starting to impress me with their openings now. Like, I'm sure you talked about it, but watching Samoa Joe come out and chest bump Roman Reigns now was definitely worth watching.
We actually were talking about how terrible it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're on an island by yourself.
See, like, I thought it was cool just because I like now that they're making Samoa Joe be kind of like the badass. What I hated is how then they just have Roman Reigns come out of nowhere and Superman punch him to knock him out of the ring. I was like, where did that come from? Like, all the momentum you're giving Samoa Joe against Brock Lesnar is now falling short.
Well, that's essentially what we were talking about.
Yeah, because God forbid Roman Reigns ends up on his back.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for Jess, but I like Joe, and I like how he's been getting booked. He's getting booked like a monster. What I didn't like was Roman Reigns is all... I didn't even mind the Superman punch. What I didn't like was how awkward Roman was on the mic and talking about how Joe wasn't Samoan, and it was just weird and awkward.
Yeah. You could definitely tell it was scripted, but I mean, I'm liking that. Like, he's the first guy to come out when everyone else, heel-wise, is always like, oh, I'm going to stand on the apron and then jump off, and like, nuh-uh, this ain't, not tonight, I'm a prize fighter. This time, he just gets in the ring, gets you right in your face, and like, shoulder chest blocks you, and like, beats you up. And I was like, well damn, didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, then we get the
art. That's what I like.
Then we get the
art. That was my little derail, but...
no, that's fine. You show up late, you derail the podcast. That's what you do.
So then we get the art.
Sorry, man. That title belt option made it so that I can be in, like, acting rules now, so I had to go do a table read.
So then I'm
going to be in Marine 8.
So then we get the R-Truth response to Goldust. He accepts Goldust's invitation, and he's going to, quote-unquote, smack the truth into him. So
when are we finally going to get a fight? Great Balls?
No, next
Great
week.
Balls,
they're going to fight next week.
Oh, okay. That's it? We're just going to build it up to a Raw?
Well, I'm assuming
it up to a pay-per-view?
I'm assuming it's either going to be some sort of confrontation, and the real payoff is going to be at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, we need something more than 3 matches for Great Balls of Fire.
So then Bo Dallas is getting a pep talk when The Miz enters. Miz invites Bo.
You can believe that.
Yeah, and Miz invites...
I will say this. During that Bo Dallas match, I didn't even know that was him. I was like, I didn't realize he
Yeah,
got
he
knocked on his
changed.
back.
Well,
Crazy.
we'll get to that. So Miz invites Bo and Axel to join his entourage, and then he runs away. So my question was going to be when, but you weren't on. Was who the fuck is Bo Dallas? And Jess informed me that he's actually Bray's legitimate brother, but he's never been in the Wyatt family.
Oh, so they're actually playing the brother role?
Well, no.
No,
No.
no.
I was just asking. Is that the case? Is he like legitimately brothers with Bray?
Yeah, he's his real brother.
But they've never done the angle.
No,
Right.
because when they started the Wyatt family, that was the undefeated Bo Dallas, believe this gimmick.
Uh huh.
Yeah, everything we
And
just talked about.
yeah, that just did touch upon that. So who the hell is Axel? My question is to both of you.
Curtis Axel?
Yeah.
He's just he's like Bo Dallas. He's a jobber without a gimmick. He just comes out and does his thing. Because the last real gimmick he had was when he was doing the spoofs with Damian Sandow. When Damian Sandow was the Macho Man and Curtis Axel was Hulkamania.
Oh, really?
But then Hulk Hogan got in trouble, so they had to can that gimmick real fast. And then you've never seen Curtis Axel again.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens.
So then we get Samoa Joe interview. Um,
That's the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar interview, right?
well, this is him in the back. So
Okay.
Joe tells the back to play the footage and we see that he beat Roman Reigns in his debut 4 months ago. He's gonna do it again, and Reigns is gonna have to say Joe's name with respect. So then
Not just somebody named Joe.
yeah, so Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. We get a back and forth match between these two, and it was actually pretty good. You know, Roman has been growing on me as far as his in-ring work is concerned.
He does. I'm liking this big dog in the yard thing because he's getting like a
course you do.
swagger and an attitude to him.
If he turns heel, it'll be worth it. If he doesn't, it's
It
gonna
will.
fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's got to turn heel.
You have
because
more
he's
faith.
got-
You
he's
have
got, like
more.
a swagger.
You have way more faith in WWE than me and Jess do.
Yeah,
I
I was
know,
gonna say,
I
man,
know.
this is like the complete opposite of.
But can I just say one thing? Because I feel like we're getting to that point. Do you remember when he had the feud with Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman went to the hospital and was done for like 6 weeks or 6 months, whatever it was? Do you remember me? And I think it's on the podcast. I said we need to tease Braun coming back with the occasional ambulance in the back, like on cinder blocks, flipped over, all that. And then when I watched this match, I felt like WWE watched our podcast and made it happen.
So, well, way to bury the lead. So Joe rolls out after Reigns lands a shot and almost gets counted out. Suddenly, an ambulance is shown on the video board backing up, and Braun Strowman kicks the door open and does his trademark yell as Roman looks on in disbelief. Joe then
Yes.
sneaks up on him and locks in the coquina clutch, and Reigns is forced to pass out. Joe,
When that ambulance showed up, I stood up in my living room.
it was
I was like, no.
it was definitely a
They're
mark out
not.
moment for sure.
Oh, yes. I was like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
He didn't listen to what I said.
See, I thought they were just gonna tease it, like you know
I
how
did too. I
they.
thought he was going to boot the doors off the hinge.
What'd you think of the reveal, Jess?
I liked it, man. I don't know. It's one of the few things that worked for me tonight.
I mean, it's Braun. He's the most over thing on Raw, in my
Well,
opinion.
here was the thing though. It was a great reveal and a welcoming of Braun. They killed it when he says, "I'm not through with you yet. I'm going to see you in an ambulance match." I was like,
Yeah.
really? Really, we're going to go gimmicky now with the ambulance? But you had one as you got thrown through a door of an ambulance and into a bunch of Home Depot boxes.
Well,
There
I
was
mean,
your ambulance match.
he did proceed to come out and murder Roman after he yells he's not finished with him. So I think that mini payoff was it. I mean, you knew they were gonna as soon as they did the first ambulance gimmick, you knew this feud was not going to end
Yes.
until they had an ambulance match.
Well, I mean, the one thing I hated about it is how Roman Reigns keeps saying, "I I destroyed Braun Strowman." Like, you didn't do anything. An
Yeah.
ambulance door did it.
Well, we're almost at the big twist of the episode. So, but first we got to get through this Miz, this continuation of this Miz Dean Ambrose feud. Uh, so, spoiler alert, that's how I feel.
A bunch of random high spots
So,
with bears.
yeah, so Miz apologizes to Maurice, and then Miz fucks up and like spills his drink on Maurice. He then awkwardly calls their belt their child, and Dean laughs, and he fucks everything up too. Well, he does it on purpose.
We're still,
Awkward.
yeah. Who's hyped for this to keep going?
I'm not. There's no character with Dean anymore. I don't think.
Well, it is.
Like, it doesn't seem like, oh,
Well-
he's old Uncle Dino. What does
Well-
that even mean?
Well, he's essentially trolling
Crazy Uncle
Miz.
Dino.
Yeah, he's trolling Miz, and you know what? When it works, I'm okay with it. Like
But
when
if you if you didn't remember, Roman Reigns did this same exact thing with Rusev and Lana.
well, it is then revealed that the Bears are Axel and Bo Dallas. I guess they did accept Miz's offer, and now we have one of our few factions on Raw right now.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? That was a good decision by Axel and Bo.
I don't know, man. They were already part of a failed stable. Fuck. I want to see these guys branch out and be their own people. And I'm sick of the heels coming from this weak ass position of, I need 5 people with me. I need a crew. I need this, that, and another thing to survive a match. It's getting ridiculous.
So,
And that's why Hodap will never be the champ ever.
so then we get a tag match.
Damn you, Comcast!
We get Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Titus brand, aka Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. It was an okay match. Eventually
It was a waste of my time.
Cesaro lands a Swiss uppercut on Titus while the ref isn't looking and he's on the outside. And then Sheamus and Cesaro land that double team maneuver they do off the top rope and get the win. And then we get a teaser that Brock's going to be back next week, and I don't even know why they do that. It's just it's just a automatic trigger for for all the fans that fucking hate the fact that Brock has the title hostage right now.
Well, I think they do it because they're noticing like their viewership is going down. So they're like, crap, we got to get people to want to watch Monday Night Raw.
Well, I think
Brock's
that's
coming to town.
Well, I think that's what happens when you don't have your main belt on the show every week.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Bryan wasn't able to defend the Intercontinental title for a day, and they made him give it up. So, I mean, Brock hasn't defended it since WrestleMania, and he didn't even defend it.
Yeah.
So then we get the women. It started out as, I believe it was a Sasha Banks Nia Jax match, but then all the women
It just became a waste of time.
It just became another random women's brawl, and then all the women have to gang up on Nia, and Alexa Bliss runs away. So just a repeat of essentially what's been going on. It definitely seems like Bayley does get involved. She kind of shows off that she can actually wrestle, which was a nice change of pace. But this is essentially the women's division spinning its wheels again, and I think that's our biggest problem with everything with the product lately. Is it seems like it's been a lot of wheel spinning.
It honestly makes me not like the women's division anymore.
Oh, it's about time you finally
I
got on
like
board.
SmackDown women division. I hate the Raw women division. It makes no sense. There's no direction. It's literally someone saying in the back, Oh crap, we got 5 minutes to kill. What do? Throw the women out there. Which one? I don't freaking care. Throw them all out there. What's the
Yeah.
match? Who cares? It's going to be into disqualification somehow.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So then we get the big reveal at the end of the show. So Kurt doesn't forget his promise from earlier in the episode. He comes out, and then Enzo and Cass join him. And they actually do drop a decent promo. I liked it. It was better than the majority of the ones that they do. They actually put a little difference into everything. So Corey Graves then they call out the Revival, and then they call out Big Show, and I guess they're teasing the next potential feud, and we'll get to it after the reveal is done. Both of them basically are dismissed when Kurt says it's not them, and then Corey Graves interrupts and says he has the security footage. They then play it on the video board, and it reveals that Cass has lied and he faked his attack. He then reveals that he was the one beating up Enzo. He hates him, and Enzo's been holding him back, and he betrays his longtime friend.
I'll
So,
say this. This was probably the best Big Cass.
no.
This was probably the best Big Cass promo he's ever done.
oh boy, I can't wait to talk about this because you just said that Steve Austin, Stone Cold. I gotta say, this was terrible. This was terrible, man.
It was definitely terrible. And Corey, I hate to say it, Corey Graves did not help this one. His delivery was just awkward and made no sense. The best part of the whole scene and like spot was the Big Show talking to Kurt, being like, Kurt, we've traveled up and down the roads together. How dare you think it was me? And he has even that best line. If it was me, I wouldn't be coming up behind you. I'd punch you right in your face.
Yeah.
So don't pull up to me, kid. I was
Okay.
like, oh, damn.
So
Kayfabe.
my biggest problem, Cass, he's terrible. It has to
He's
be.
not the worst, dude.
It-
It's
it-
just the material they gave him.
It could be the writing, but this could be improv from him too. We have no idea how much leverage he has in the direction that this went.
He has
And,
zero leverage.
well, I'm not gonna say he's like a Stone Cold or a Rock where he gets to write his own material, but he probably had some say in like planning how this was gonna go out overall, or go down, I should say. And I mean, it was just like, and okay, have you guys lost track? Because I have. How many betrayals have we had now of tag
A lot.
teams?
Like,
It's
too many.
it's a little played out.
Don't worry about it. I mean, we've had the Shield.
No, I mean
We've
just this
had-
year, just this year.
Oh,
We had R-Truth and Goldust. We had KO
Yeah.
and Jericho. Now we have this one, and I'm pretty sure we've had a couple other ones.
I
Yeah, but
mean,
KO and Jericho, I mean, that was something that should have happened long before it did.
Yeah, but that was I mean, when they did finally pull the trigger, that was a classic. That was done. If that was a 10
Yes.
out of 10, this was like a 3 out of 10.
oh wow, I was gonna say 5, but
Well, I absolutely did not like Cass's delivery. Like, he repeated his lines, and he sounded robotic. He sounded he
you know
just,
what I think it
I don't
is?
know what his problem is.
And
I don't
You know what
dislike
I think
Cass.
it is though, and I've noticed this with the NXT crowd, like the NXT superstars. They are huge, but have baby face, like literal baby faces. Like Big Cass looks like he's a 16-year-old on a giant's body, and so when you see his little tiny head with his like baby ass smooth face with the few little scraggle beards,
It's a
saying, like,
stubble.
yeah, say like, I hate you, Enzo. I've always hated you. I'm like, oh, you're so adorable. Like, and it didn't help when you had the Big Show, and yeah, he's not 500 pounds anymore. He's like 350, but he stands looking at Big Cass, and I mean, I always say this. There's a difference between like, oh, you're strong, like Big Cass, and then you got like old man strength, like the Big Show, where he's like, son, I'd punch you right in your face. Like, damn.
So
I
okay,
think
so
Vicious.
Big Cass kind of shit himself a little bit.
so as we wrap up an okay Raw. There was two things I wanted to get out there before we move on to SmackDown.
Samoa Joe was the best part of Raw.
Well,
in an ambulance.
Well, no, specifically about this. What is next for Enzo and what is next for Cass? Obviously, I'm assuming that Enzo is going to team up with Big Show, and that's going to be, and they're gonna go after Cass.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's just going to be a solo Big Show and Big Show and Big Cass fight off.
Do you think?
And sadly,
do you think
it's going to be like the Big Show laying down for Big Cass.
Do you think Enzo? Do you think Enzo does eventually fight Cass 1-on-1, and
No.
does he have a chance of going over if he does?
No, not one bit.
No.
If they
The
had,
only way is if it's a no disqualification hardcore match.
If they
The
did
only
it-
way.
He pulls a gad and kneecaps him.
if they did this right, it would be a cool David and Goliath kind of thing with
Yeah.
this
I
setup
mean, they've
of the
done it
betrayal.
before.
But
They've
I mean,
done it
obviously
before
they've done
with,
it.
like,
They've done it a million times. But I'm saying,
Rey Mysterio and Kevin Nash. Like, you can pull this off. You just have to do it well.
And
it's
Enzo's good
just-
enough on the mic. I just don't know if he's good enough in the ring. Like, they complement each other so well. So it's interesting that they picked this timing to do it now. It's definitely going the way this breakup was not a great start is all I'm gonna say.
No, it was a half-assed breakup. It made no sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Like, you didn't really see any distress on Big Cass's face in the upcoming, like the previous weeks, to lead you to believe that there was tension. I mean, he even came out before the big reveal doing the same shtick.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he's like, come on out, Revival, or you SAW. I mean, like, come on, dude.
And
If you're angry
I
at
rewatched it.
Enzo, show it.
I rewatched it, and he definitely no-sold it for sure during the
Yeah.
promo.
Yeah, like he didn't get angry. But Graves was like, we caught you. What you doing there, Big Cass? And he's like, you're right. I hate you. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, it did come out of left field. I did hear the theory, though, that this was originally supposed to be Swerve, and that the tag team they were trying to bring back no-showed on him.
Who would they try to bring back?
Oh, no, man. They didn't do it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to be premiere at Great Balls of Fire.
The
Well,
worst.
what tag team is there?
I don't know, man. I'm putting this on my
Vaudevillains?
prediction.
The Vaudevillains? They're coming back?
I wish, man, but that ship sailed.
Well, we're not going to talk about the pay-per-view that must not be named quite yet. We're going to move on to SmackDown.
Oh, it's
They're
named,
flaming
man.
testicles?
Yeah. Like, just everybody knows Vince McMahon was the one that was like, "Oh man, let's make it. That's a great name. Let's bring it back."
Yeah.
He like just heard that song.
You know that's what he did. Like, he sat back and they're like, Vince, we need to come up with new pay-per-views. What do you think we should do? Oh, I think we should come up with Great Balls of Fire. Ha 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 ha. It's like, well, how are we gonna do the
That's
pictures?
even worse than mine.
Anyway, we're gonna go on. We're gonna move on to SmackDown. So we have right away. They're not messing around. They acknowledge the whole fiasco with the women's ladder match, the women's Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank match.
So
Yeah, it really wasn't much of a ladders match.
all of the
But
women
it wasn't
are
much of a women's match.
all of the women are arguing about what the hell happened. Daniel Bryan shows up and he says he's going to take care of it after he hears Carmella and Ellsworth's side of the story. All the other females are like, what the fuck? And we cut to the ring as Carmella and Ellsworth come out. And oh my god, Carmella with this briefcase. I gotta say, it is pretty great. Carmella says that she's been trending, but it isn't for the right reasons. But she doesn't care, and she isn't here for girl power or any of that bullshit. She's just here for herself, and she was the last one drafted. I didn't even know that, so that's actually pretty funny.
Oh, was she?
That's what she
she's
said.
The last one
I must have
drafted.
missed that.
She was drafted off the air
Yeah.
on
A lot of
Facebook.
people were though. I mean,
Yeah, but she was
the
like the
vaudevillains
last one.
were.
She was that kid when you do like dodgeball picking, and you're like, I don't really want them. No, you take them. Fine, SmackDown. We'll take Carmella
Yeah.
and that little no chin slug.
So then she gives everyone a history lesson and how there's been interference in countless Money in the Bank matches on the men's side, and how can you technically break a rule if there are none. Once again, we need to get a counter for
But can I say
heels
this?
that are technically right.
Can I say this though? The rule is whoever holds the briefcase wins, correct?
If they went for the swerve and actually said like, "Oh, Ellsworth, you won the contract."
Well, no, but I'm just saying they say whoever holds the briefcase wins. So
Yeah.
with that being said, wouldn't all the false finish briefcase grabs count as a win?
Well, you have to unhook it,
I mean, Becky Lynch was holding on to it before she got flipped over.
but she didn't unhook it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I think it's whoever gets a hold of it off the hook is what they need to clarify, but they didn't do that.
So yeah. Anyway, Charlotte interrupts Daniel Bryan because he comes out and he and tells him to do the right thing. So yeah, everybody's just like going insane, just like Twitter. So then we get our first match. We get Big E versus Jimmy Uso. New Day come out and drop a great promo about how the Usos literally ran away. And then the Usos come out and we have our match. Jimmy basically controlled the start of the match, but Big E he did a good job reminding everybody why he's probably the best wrestler on the New Day. And he landed a bunch of great suplexes until Jimmy lands the Samoan drop. They try to interfere some more until the New Day kind of chase Jey Uso away, and then Big E lands his finisher and he gets the win. So, what do you guys think of that match and the continuation of this feud?
I mean, I really like the Usos now, even more. Like I love them as
Since
heels.
they've gone heel, man, yeah. What do you
They're
think?
awesome.
They haven't had a misstep. They just keep getting better, which is impressive to me.
I know. I
Now-
really and truly hope they keep doing heel shenanigans and just have a stupid record of days holding the belt.
I read this online. I'm sorry I can't give whoever said this credit, but I agreed with what their conclusion was. They said that the Usos winning at Money in the Bank was fine, but instead of winning by running away, they should have like grabbed a chair. If this was the penitentiary, they should have like went and DQ'd themselves by like attacking them and cheating that way, not just simply being fine leaving. That's kind of a
But they can do that in Battleground.
well,
Can
yeah.
they? Is that what they're going for now?
Probably. I mean, where else are they going to go? God forbid somebody loses a match and actually steps aside and let another tag team get up there.
So
I mean, hell, we had Roman Reigns say, like, I'm the number one contender. Why? Because I said so. Oh, well, okay. I thought we had to actually wrestle for it.
You missed that part of the show. We
talked in length about that.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just like, I just don't like how
man.
just because
If
you're
this was important
champions,
to you, you could have shown up.
you know what? You son of a bitch. Just wait. I'm taking that belt from you. I'm gonna go. I found out the only way to win now is go heel. So
Go heel.
fuck you. I'm taking my belt.
I mean, if you look
Wow.
at most of the belts, I mean, they're all mostly on. It's like 90% heels right now.
Yeah. God forbid we play by the rules. God forbid.
This isn't Vietnam.
No,
Oh, even taking my jokes. I get you.
this isn't.
So-
And speaking of Vietnam, once we're off the air, I got a great story about Vietnam for you.
Oh, I got a better one.
Okay, that's a hell of a segue. We have then we have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler, and this was actually a really good match. And I thought this was a better match than the one they had at Backlash.
Yeah. I even love especially how the announcers say, and Dolph Ziggler's going to continue the feud with Shinsuke, just
Yeah.
in case we didn't know.
Yeah. Um,
Hey,
so
man. I mean, some people might have not watched the last, what, 4 weeks?
Yeah. I just love how they end the Money in the Bank and they're like, so we're going to continue the feuds we had originally.
yeah, except now Corbin has the case and he gets to fuck with people.
And I hated how he came out.
All right, let's not bury the lead.
I don't even remember when he came out.
It,
That's
it
how convoluted Raw SmackDown is.
so we get the King of Strong Style and heel Ziggler exchange some pretty good shots. Dolph can't quite put away the King of Strong Style though, because even after he hits a Famouser and a zigzag, shortly after Shinsuke's finally able to land the Sasa. Fuck, I can't. Somebody else say it. How about that?
Ken Sasha!
There you go. And gets the win.
You gotta say it just like that. Slanted eyes and all.
I thought this definitely was one of the best matches of the night, potentially
Yeah.
both
I mean,
nights.
don't you love that Shinsuke has better matches on TV than he does in pay-per-views?
Well, I got to imagine it just
I feel
it
they
had to be
realized
ring
how
rust.
big a misstep it was having that almost 50-50 booking with Ziggler for the. God, I don't even want to call it a pay-per-view.
I wouldn't. Well,
That was the
I wouldn't call it
biggest
50-50
letdown
booking
of
because
the
they only
build-up.
had like one match.
Yeah, but it wasn't a match where one person really looked like they dominated. They took a guy who had main event, has all this hype behind him, and they made him just look like another guy on the roster.
Well,
He
I
did
feel
have
that
a
was
guy
a
on the
complete
roster.
misstep.
I actually thought that I mean, and maybe this just says how well the match was as far as the storytelling was, but for a brief moment, especially after the Famouser and the zigzag, because Dolph was, as soon as Shinsuke would kick out, Dolph would jump right back on him, and I honestly thought Dolph was going to go over, so that wouldn't have shocked me the way the majority of this match did go.
I wish he did go over. It gives Shinsuke a reason to continue feuding with somebody for 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll any final words on that match? And I got to agree with you, Jess. The more Shinsuke fights, the better he's getting. So,
Yes,
Yeah,
I concur.
um, so then we
it's
get
not the route I would have taken, but it's what they're doing with it.
then we get the
You mean
Kevin.
you would have took this roundabout zigzag,
Oh,
no
I
pun
see.
intended
I
approach?
see what you did there. Uh, with that, we're gonna move on. God damn it. So then we get the Kevin Owens Open Challenge. He comes out and he's all pissed about what happened on Money in the Bank, and he says that the 5 other competitors basically conspired to try and end his career.
They
And
tried to end America.
They
And-
did. He
and-
died like 9 times.
well, I was gonna get there
oh.
if for those that happen to have missed Money in the Bank or didn't see any recaps. He did essentially have like 4 or 5 different high spots. He got put through a ladder, I think twice, and he definitely got pretty messed up, and he's ready to exact some revenge. So he opens an open challenge. He issues an open challenge to anyone in the back, and guess who comes out? Not a random jobber, but the phenomenal one. AJ Styles.
After
I'm
all,
from
this is the
Dayton,
house that
Ohio.
AJ Styles built.
So KO stops AJ before he can get going, and he says that this is technically only for anyone from Dayton, Ohio, where SmackDown is currently being held.
Yeah.
So he's obviously asking for a jobber. Then
Yes.
all of a sudden, the one and only, and this was the last group I thought was going to come out, but American Alpha. We're reminded that American Alpha still exists, and apparently, supposedly, Chad Gable, one half of American Alpha, just happened to have moved to Dayton, and he's ready to fight.
No. He moved to the dorms of Rice University.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Is that where the
According to
address is?
JBL. That's what JBL said. And then I think Byron Saxton's like, well, JBL, maybe he teaches at Rice and he's staying there overnight.
See, I would have just said like, oh, it's the hotel that he's staying at for SmackDown.
Yeah,
But
nobody would have picked up that he gave the Rice University address.
yeah, as soon as the bell rings, Gable goes right after it, and he hits some. They weren't quite German suplexes; it was like belly to back. And during the commercial, though, they did the picture in picture, and KO takes over. Gable is able to land a counter out of his superplex, and almost gets the roll up pin. He then lands a DDT and a moonsault, and I honestly thought once again they had me going for a second. That was a pretty good sequence, but Chad gets driven into the post, but he's able to dodge the cannonball and lands a great German suplex. So they're actually showing off one half of American Alpha.
Yeah.
KO
Too bad the other half didn't stay to cheer him on.
Well,
now, is he still out on injury? Was there a reason they did it this way?
I don't know.
Well,
I didn't even know they were injured.
KO is able to land a pop-up power bomb out of nowhere, and he gets the win. So basically, Chad actually controlled a lot of this match, and then KO's like, you know what, kid, you had your time in the sun, and ends it. So I liked it.
Wait, you mean we can't have a Universal Champion as part of the tag team?
I guess not.
No,
God
it's
forbid
impossible.
someone holds 2 belts.
I will say, I think this was before you came back, Dapper, but myself and Jess had a brief aside where we were talking about how the tag team in the mid card are kind of stuck in hell, and I would definitely lump American Alpha into that. So why the hell can they not have multiple tag teams doing stuff on the same show?
Just because we have to spend more time having the Maharaja talk about how much he snarls and hates America.
Well, that's a great segue. Jess, do you have a rebuttal towards that, or do you want me to get into the match?
Listen, one of us is the champ, and one of us has been on a losing streak that hasn't stopped and isn't going to anytime soon.
This is kind of paralleling Randy Orton and Jinder
right.
Mahal.
Wow, thanks for ruining the setup, CJ. Yes, you've more or less made the joke I was setting up for.
Oh well,
I will see you in the Punjabi prison.
Yeah.
There is no Punjabi prison. Punjabi is a language.
There's a Punjabi prison. It's made of bamboo. It's
that's like going to English jail, John.
All right. Let's get to the actual match.
That's not a thing.
So they actually said this earlier, and I was like, who? Because apparently Luke Harper gets to randomly fight the champion, and
that came out of left field.
Yeah, I was like, wait, who the hell's Luke Harper?
You mean the Mojo Riley one didn't?
Yeah.
You don't remember Mojo Riley working his way up to be the #1 contender?
I would say Mojo's done a little bit more than Luke has.
What has he done?
I mean,
besides randomly talk to children about giant Andre statues.
He brings up the kids too, man.
Well,
they gotta do that. It's gotta be a swerve.
Well, at least that was on TV. Like, yeah, that was terrible. But I didn't know that Luke was still in the company's payroll. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, don't you remember him fighting Eric Rowan?
Oh God!
You didn't know that Eric Rowan was the #1
ago,
contender.
Though.
Eric Rowan was the #1 contender to the #7 contender spot, and now Luke Harper won that spot, and so now he's got a title shot on a random Tuesday. Just because.
So yeah, we get that as our main event. Say what you will, that's what we have. So Harper knocks Jinder out of the ring with a dropkick right away. Harper goes for the suicide dive, but Mahal throws a Singh brother in the way. He's just like, you know what, you eat this. And they're so tiny, it makes sense. Like, if I was...
The one thing that I hate is that Jinder can't even beat a jobber on his own.
Yeah,
that's where they're losing me on there.
So he's after one of the Singh brothers eats the suicide dive. Jinder hits Harper with a pretty good knee, a running knee. Jinder eventually hits the superplex, and out comes the men's Money in the Bank winner, Baron Corbin.
Wait, no,
Money.
no, no. You mean the 6 foot tall Carmella? Because I remember seeing this happen.
Yeah, we get a replay of what Carmella did at Money in the Bank. He circles the ring and then leaves. Um, so
Yeah,
uh,
just a waste of time.
yeah, that lets Harper roll up Jinder, but the champ isn't able to kick out. One of the Singh brothers distracts Luke long enough for Jinder to hit the Colossus and get the win.
This is what I'm saying. Luke doesn't need a victory right now. Why not give it to Jinder Mahal?
Yeah. So
Because Luke Harper needs the victory. That's the whole point of Baron Corbin coming out to distract Jinder Mahal. Is so Luke Harper can get the roll up. You can't even
But
get a
this is what
roll
I'm
up
saying. Why can't we have ever just have a heel champ who's strong?
because then they're not heels. Then they're baby faces.
No, you make him strong. You make him just such a dick. Dude, you do some
But-
Ted
But
DiBiase
you
shit.
need him to do heelish things.
I mean,
Throwing your
once-
little peon
once-
minion in
once
the
they
way
make-
isn't a heel move.
I mean, you could make an argument that Brock is a heel champ, but once they make Braun Strowman, whether that's this year or next year, once they make him the champ, he'll be a legitimate monster heel. If Samoa Joe wins it, he would be a monster heel. Bray Wyatt, he was kind of okay. Bray Wyatt's never been booked like a monster.
Bray Wyatt's a babyface. Brock Lesnar's a babyface. You're a babyface when you go just like how they showed with like kind of like the interview process with Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar in this episode of SmackDown. They even showed Brock Lesnar like, you think I'm scared because you coquina clutched an old Paul Heyman? I'd whoop your ass. Everyone's like, woo! That's a babyface.
Yeah. Well, that was Raw. This is SmackDown. So anyway, as after Jinder hits the Colossus and gets the win, Jinder celebrates and Randy Orton's music hits. Orton beats up the Singh brothers as they run up the ramp and then goes after Jinder. Orton then proceeds to DDT Mahal on the outside mat and then throws him into the ring. But before he can hit the RKO, the Singh brothers attack again. Jinder's able to escape as the brothers both eat RKOs. And the one thing I did pick up after this was the Singh brothers have really learned how to get
Take an
murdered
RKO.
get murdered by Randy Orton because they've done it like 10 times now.
Yeah,
I
the
just love
Singh brothers are phenomenal. I've said this from the
they're
beginning when they were the
not.
Bollywood boys. And it's getting ridiculous to me. I don't want to keep harping on the fact that, what were we saying, Dad?
No, I'm saying thank you. It is so ridiculous. Like, Jinder Mahal comes out every Tuesday with that snidely, whiplash, snarl-looking face of his. It serves no purpose because he's like, I'm angry, but I can't fight on my own because God forbid.
Yeah,
The Singh brothers
that's
don't get
stupid.
involved.
Well, I wanted to pitch this out there because this is a theory. This was immediately where my brain went as soon as this match was over because it was such a letdown. Do you guys think it would be a lot better if Jinder was the U.S. champion because that's the proper mid-card title and KO was the WWE champion? Is Jinder getting over with either of you?
No, he had a moment of getting over with me at the Money in the Bank when he was fighting his own fight. The moment the Singh brothers grabbed Bob Orton Sr., he lost me again. And like I just wish he would come out without the snarl.
I kind of feel the same way. It's when Jinder's doing his own thing, he's getting over with me if that thing is fighting and being strong. I don't mind him having the Singh brothers. I don't mind him doing heelish tactics. But if that's all he becomes is the run-of-the-mill, I have two guys to help interfere and DQ me from every match if need be.
See, I want to see him use weapons. I want to see him put a.
That's what I'm saying.
I want to see him do a Colossus and put somebody through the table.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I hate to say it, The Miz is a way better champion than Jinder Mahal is Because even though the Miz is a heel and he's cowardly, like, oh God, don't punch me in the face.
Well, he
You
understands
never,
what the championship is.
yeah, but you never see the Miz except for today. You never see him get help from anyone to beat somebody.
Well, okay, let's not
As
go
he
that
forms a
far.
faction.
Huh?
He forms a faction on Raw this week, and
Like I
B,
said, this
ev-
week,
and
besides this week,
okay,
he actually goes and
okay,
fights.
hold on, and he essentially uses Maurice as a human shield every other match. So yeah,
But
he
does
uses
anyone
help,
touch
but
Maurice?
what I think what you're getting at though, Dapper, and this is where I'll agree with you.
You don't see
Miz,
Maurice taking on Dean Ambrose for
hold
10 minutes
hold on,
so he can get a
Miz.
skull crushing finale in the center of the ring.
I think there's a big difference though, is that not only is Maurice a woman, but I think the another reason why it works, not necessarily the bigger reason, but another factor in the Miz's favor, is the fact that Miz is a smaller guy. Jinder is huge, and
Yeah, but like what the
and
Miz does is he
hold
cowards. And
well
so it makes sense throwing Maurice in the way.
Well, and also, it's also the mid card belt. This is not the top belt on supposedly what should be the top wrestling show. If Raw is the spectacle and SmackDown is the land of opportunity,
He just,
aka the working man show.
but he's not a working man. He doesn't deserve it.
Well, that's
He's just
yeah.
like he hasn't shown why he deserves it.
I
Just because you got jacked over the summer and we decided to sell our company to 1.6 or 4 billion Indians doesn't mean you deserve to be the champion.
so
The
Apparently it does,
Bollywood
Dap.
boys,
do you have
the
do you have
Bollywood
any
boys get more action in the ring than he does.
Now, let's move past this because
do
we're just going to keep talking in circles about this.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you guys have any final words on Ginger or Luke Harper? We didn't really talk about Luke besides the fact that we're all reminded that he actually is a wrestler.
He's falling into Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel.
He has a great
He-
move set. It's
But
the
he
same
has
exact.
no-
he
he
is
has
a
no
great
character.
he is a great guy, but what's his character? What does he do?
Everybody, it's if you're not on the top of the card, you are buried in mid card hell where you do not have a character. It doesn't matter what division you're in, whether you're in a tag, a solo, or even if you're a woman. If you're in that mid card, you are buried, and that's the problem with Luke.
They just didn't even give mid cards time to have a story. It's
And
like you either already know who you are or figure it out. Like this is what house shows are for.
yeah.
Let Luke and Eric Rowan and American Alpha and I don't even know who else is backstage somewhere. Let them
Mojo.
come out. Yeah, Mojo and Zack Ryder. Give them a character and a reason. Don't just throw them on SmackDown and be like, "Good luck."
Oh, I think I missed. I missed talking about that briefly. The Mojo Rawley, Zack Ryder.
Hype Bros are back.
Yeah, the Hype Bros are back, and they demanded a tag team title shot because technically they are entitled to their rematch. And Daniel Bryan says, "You know what? Fine, guys. But I'll give you a legit chance, but you have to beat the Usos again. You have to beat them first next week. So." That should be a great match. I'm excited to see that. But then I saved this. Technically, the Luke Harper, Jinder Mahal match and the Randy Orton stuff was the last thing on the show. But I saved this for last because I think this will lead to the longest part of our discussion on today's show. Was the women's promo, the finale as to this controversy with the women's Money in the Bank briefcase and how technically it was James Ellsworth, a man, who won it for Carmella. So Daniel Bryan comes out, announces that he's been talking with officials and Shane McMahon trying to reach an official ruling about the Money in the Bank. And then he has all the women come out. Carmella comes out last and hands the case to James Ellsworth to hold on like a little bitch. I love that little part. Daniel explains that while the Money in the Bank match is a no disqualification match, and there's been plenty of interference before, they have never had a scenario like this before. Ellsworth interrupts and says that Daniel has gotten soft ever since he's had his, and I'm quoting here, vegan hippie baby.
Yes.
And Daniel immediately gets in James's face and threatens to not only fire him but punch him in the face. I
Don't
think.
you love when people break the script and go off script
Well,
and
I would imagine this was.
kayfabe is alive?
Yeah, this might have it definitely it could have been. It could have been a shoot or a work. I definitely
But it
believed
worked.
him. I definitely believed him, and I think I heard some yes chants.
Yeah, because he's like, I will punch you in the face, then fire you.
Yeah.
Ellsworth is probably the only person WWE could clear for Daniel Bryan that actually wrestled.
Yeah. So Becky pleads with Daniel, and Natalia tells her to stop sucking up. Then Flair has everyone shut up, and oh my god, this is so awkward. Talk about like Cass level
The
of
repeat?
awkward. Oh my god, Tamina. You
Shut
have
up or you look like
yeah.
Ellsworth.
Have you have obviously never gotten into a verbal joust, if you will.
Well,
Just
Nobody's
get
been
verbal
foolish enough to
joust
put
on
her
the
on the
island.
mic before.
Yeah, so Tamina just says exactly what Flair said, which falls flat, and literally the crowd doesn't even boo her. It's just
They
silent.
just don't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It's weak apathy at best, man. Then what the heck are you supposed to say to something like that?
So after all the women have their chance to say something, Daniel Bryan is ready to make his announcement. Carmella has made history. Not only was she the first women's winner, but she will also be the first person to have to turn their briefcase in.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Daniel is going to take the briefcase,
So
and
wait
next.
a minute. I got a question. So since they're, like you said, CJ, they're going to do this match when?
If you let me finish what I was going to say,
Okay, so finish.
Daniel is going to take the briefcase, and next week on SmackDown, we're going to have another women's Money in the Bank ladder match. As Daniel Bryan snatches the case and leaves, all the women start brawling. Carmella gets trapped between Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Carmella then eats a natural selection, and then she gets some sort of armbar, like modified armbar that Becky Lynch does. So, okay, so I loved the fact that they're like, you know what, we're not gonna fucking build this up and do and drag this out. No, we're gonna actually do something cool on a SmackDown. And
Yes.
No, that's why SmackDown's the better show.
I
They
wanna
gave us
know,
an
though,
actual reason to tune in. What's going on Raw next week that you have to see other than the Gold Dust match?
another
and
ambulance.
and it will okay, guys. Would it have surprised you if they didn't even acknowledge this controversy and they just continued on and said, "Oh yeah, Carmella won it. Yeah, people
It would
don't like
not
how she
surprise
won
me.
it." Yeah, so
Yeah,
If
it
they
wouldn't have
never brought
bugged
Daniel
me.
Bryan back, it would not surprise me.
yeah. I
Daniel Bryan is
I
the
don't know why
ultimate
they keep
underdog.
bringing him back.
Because he's the best part of it.
he always gets a pop. He will always get a pop.
Yeah.
Um uh
The same reason why we bring back half the Raw Divas.
so there was one little thing I wanted to point out, and I don't think a lot of people have noticed this. Ellsworth was not banned from ringside.
Yes, I noticed that. I was like, what is
I-
the point? It's just going to happen again.
I immediately noticed that because as soon as Daniel snatches the case, he like disappears like a leprechaun, and so
I don't
could
know. Adult face grip.
could they swerve us and in fact give us the same exact finish that we had
Yes.
on the pay-per-view?
I think they're going to do the same exact finish. Daniel Bryan is going to come out and like throw Ellsworth off the ladder. So before he grabs it, I bet you that's what happens.
Okay. I think, Jess, do you think something like that could happen, or do you think Carmella will still win? Do you think somebody else is going to go over?
You know, yeah, Carmella's gonna win it again. Let's not even.
I think
pretend.
she's going to win again. I think
This is the world we're living.
I think this time though, I'm kind of similar to Dapper's logic where Ellsworth's going to try to get involved, but they're saving the whole he's going to get thrown out for either the very beginning before the match even starts. They'll just announce that like right when the bell rings, or they'll save it and Brian will do something dramatic, or maybe Becky Lynch will put him through a table or something like that. Somebody's going to throw his dumb ass off the ladder.
I think they're going to go typical WWE, and whenever they tease something, that's an automatic given it's not going to happen. I.e., Shinsuke grabbing the Money in the Bank briefcase on SmackDown, automatic understanding he's not going to win.
Yeah.
And the fact that they let Carmella win, automatic fact that she's not going to win the real one.
So who do you think?
Probably going to start a feud between Carmella and probably Becky.
So you think Becky wins?
I think. I really hope not.
Because I had Becky winning. Last
Charlotte, I don't see winning it. Becky, I don't see winning it because they've always had it. I honestly feel it has to go down to Tamina and Natalya, and because Tamina can't comprehend a single thought process to come up with something on her own uniquely, she just took herself out of the running. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a Natalya win because Ellsworth is going to probably try and climb the ladder. Daniel Bryan's music's going to hit. He's going to throw Ellsworth out. Everyone's distracted, and the little cat lady is going to climb up the ladder and grab a briefcase.
Does Lana get involved at all?
Yeah, she wasn't added to this for whatever reason.
Well, because she's feuding with Naomi.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be the ultimate payoff? She get the briefcase and then just challenge her to some fights and always be looming in the corner?
We've said it multiple times on today's show, Jess. This is the WWE we're talking about. That while that would be interesting, that is definitely not what we're gonna get.
Yeah, there's no way Daniel Bryan comes out saying there's no rule saying someone else can't grab the belt, interfere, give it to somebody, or the briefcase and give it to somebody else, to where they're going to stop Ellsworth from doing it just so Lana can do it.
Well, Lana would win it, and she would win it. It wouldn't be. I think that was the big. How do you do about the whole controversy? Was the fact that.
Oh, so you're telling me women can have a ladder match, but a man can't win it?
Yeah, I'm saying.
That sounds sexist, WWE.
I'm saying a woman could interfere and win it for herself.
Why do we have rules? What is this? Is this literally Vietnam?
So before you joined Dapper, I kind of teased it with Jess on the pre-show. We were gonna kind of troll you and end this recap because both episodes were kind of ho hum. I would say they were both like solid C's. Like they weren't the worst, they weren't the best. I think that we can all agree on that. But is it time to give the show a break? I mean, these shows weren't they weren't 5 stars. How about we say that?
Yeah, we're thinking it's time for us to move.
These shows haven't been 5 stars since the moment Steve Austin walked off Raw and Dwayne Johnson walked off SmackDown. They stopped being 5 stars.
Yeah. But no, we're just kidding. We're gonna continue our podcast. Kayfabe is not dead, and we're gonna wrap up this episode.
We should continue our podcast, but be like, you know what? When Raw and SmackDown improve and intrigue us, we'll review it. Until then, we'll review Ready to Rumble.
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna bring up maybe we need to talk about New Japan because holy crap, Okada and Omega.
There's never a reason not to talk about New Japan.
Okada and Omega, they instantly remind me how amazing wrestling can be, and it makes me.
Well, hey, I mean, they had a 6-star match, and the fact that they let Jim Ross commentate on it, it went up to a 7-star match.
Yeah, and maybe we'll definitely need to discuss that soon. But yeah, if you for those listening, give us a suggestion. Let us know. Should we continue? Should we? Is this going to be like a masochistic thing where we're forced to to recap every Raw and SmackDown, even though they haven't been great? Or should we be doing other things like reviewing Ready to Rumble, like Dapper wants to do? Um,
Let's just say this, CJ. Your avatar picture on your Skype is the perfect example of why this sucks.
yeah. So definitely give us a like, a subscribe if you like what we're doing. Hit us up on email or our blog. Definitely shoot us a comment wherever. And if you're listening to the audio on our archive feed or our iTunes, shoot us a review on iTunes. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And with that,
And
we're
don't
gonna.
forget, follow us on Facebook at KayfabeS not dead.
And Champ, I'll let you sign us off. Any last words from the Champ?
Any last words from the champ? Yeah, tune in next week. I think we're gonna have some new stuff for you, and hopefully the shows improve. What can we say? We're working towards it, and hopefully WWE is too.